Sex crimes against children with disabilities often go unrecognized. Children with disabilities are sexually assaulted at 7 times the rate of people without disabilities, according to the U.S. Department of Justice. It's a crime that often goes unrecognized and unpunished. No one should face sexual abuse. The Insider Exclusive's Justice in America news team has investigated horrendous incidents of sexual abuse and pushed for reform to ensure these assaults are promptly reported and investigated. And in this special Insider Exclusive Justice in America Network TV special, our news team visits with Micha Star Liberty, owner of Liberty Law, author, and prominent advocate for human and consumer rights, who represented an 18-year-old girl with autism spectrum disorder, who boarded a special education school bus provided by Vacaville Unified School District and driven by Kim Klopson. During the journey, Klopson subjected the girl to physical, verbal, and emotional abuse, all recorded by a camera on the bus when she arrived at school and prepared to depart the bus. Klopson singled her out for her disability-related behaviors, ripping her backpack away and physically manhandling her.
Okay, time to go. Let's go. Yeah, she's just having a little tantrum.
Yeah. Not ready. Or with a bear, you know.
Because Izzy's acting like she's younger than her baby sister. Oh, Izzy, you want to act like a baby? Good. Let's go. Time to go. You ready? Up you go. Up you go. I'm not going to stop it unless you stand up. Okay, you done? Let's go. Yep, you want clothes on when you get off the bus? You can do that. Now hold the rail. You done? No, 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 no. No, 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 no. You done? No, no, no. Okay. I don't like you.
Stop it! I don't want to! Stop it!
No, I'm not going to stop.
Stop it, please!
Hey!
Please!
Stop!
Please!
Stop!
Please!
Stop!
I don't want to! Please! Please! I don't
No!
want to!
I don't care what you want.
Kim Klopson was arrested after a school district employee noticed visible injuries on this special needs student. Micha successfully settled the case for $1.19 million. Micha has earned a reputation as an unyielding trial lawyer who repeatedly represents individuals and families and repeatedly wins. She has earned the highest respect from citizens and lawyers alike as one of the best trial lawyers in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area and throughout California. She's built a substantial reputation by consistently winning cases other law firms have turned down, and her amazing courtroom skills and headline-grabbing success rate continue to provide her clients with the results they need and the results they deserve. This is the Insider Exclusive, live from Oakland, California. It is my great pleasure to introduce Micha Star Liberty to the show. Welcome to the show, Micha.
Thanks so much for having me.
Tell our audience a little bit about your law firm and what you do.
So the firm's been in existence almost 20 years. I've been a lawyer representing women and children and men in sexual assault, gender violence, human trafficking cases for 23 years. So we're really focused on helping people get out of violent situations, recover from those situations, and getting accountability for what they experienced.
You had a life before you became a lawyer, right?
I did.
You worked in Washington, D.C., didn't you?
I did. I was at the Clinton White House during his first term. I was there in 1995 when the government shut down, and an intern was propelled to notoriety. We
are here today talking about a very unusual and tragic case. And prior to having you on the show, we showed the clip of the bus driver who, I don't know what was going on in her mind, but gravely mistreated this young 8-year-old girl, your client, who is named Jane Doe.
Correct.
Tell our audience a little bit about this case, the facts as you were presented it.
Sure. I got a call very soon after the actual incident itself happened, and was able to see a copy of the video. And I watched in stunned silence what happened to this beautiful little girl who has autism. And so, knowing what I know, because I've represented a number of children and adults who are neurodivergent on the spectrum, and they've suffered either violence or sexual violence. And it was so heartbreaking. It took me about a nanosecond to decide I'm going to help this family fight for justice and get accountability.
And so what are the steps when you run into a case like this? You know, because it's going to be difficult. How did you get the tape, by the way?
The parents were able to get access to a copy of the tape, but once the cat was out of the bag, so to speak, it was easier for me to put pressure on the district. With the parents' help, of course. They were immediately activated to help their daughter, and it's so wonderful to work with a family that is on it and helping me do the best job I can possibly do. We were also able to get documents and information through the criminal process. So once that started, I always go into the criminal courts and represent my clients pursuant to Marcy's Law or the Crime Victims Bill of Rights. So we were able to get some important records that way before we even filed the lawsuit in federal court.
Yeah, and for our audience, explain a little bit about Marcy's Law.
Sure. Marcy's Law is now part of our Constitution here in California, and it provides a Bill of Rights for crime victims. So they're entitled to anonymity, they're entitled to information from the DA, they're entitled to notice of when there are going to be criminal hearings or any event that comes up in the case on the criminal side.
And prior to that time, they never got that information.
That's correct.
Now, what were some of the challenges you had in this case?
It's always challenging to litigate against school districts because there are so many moving parts. So when you take a case against a school district as a litigator, I know I'm going to take 25 to 30 depositions before we even get to experts, because it's siloed off and everybody has a little bit of information. And so we spend a lot of time litigating the cases. And also, sadly, these governmental entities that are trusted to keep our kids safe while they're being educated don't take that role seriously, and they fight back instead of doing the right thing and trying to resolve these legal disputes. They fight like hell.
It would seem to me, growing up in the age that I grew up in, that if something happened in a school, the principal would call all the parties in and tell me what happened, right? And want to help. But you don't meet that anymore because everybody's looking at the dollar signs, right?
That's right. And to cover up their own negligence or their own failure to follow policies. I mean, they delegate to kind of the lowest common denominator to do investigations and to be deposed. It's really tragic. They're putting people up who should not be in those positions. It should be the higher ups coming in to answer to account.
That substitute bus driver, had she had any other previous run-ins with any parents or kids?
We found evidence using social media that there had been some prior issues and prior complaints. We were not able to obtain any information from the district to show that there had been recorded reports, which is a record-keeping problem. It's not because they weren't there, we know that, but they just didn't document the complaints.
Had you not received that videotape, a copy of it, do you think this would have been buried?
Probably, yeah.
Does anybody review the video? Why do they even have the camera on the bus?
Exactly. That's a great question. And what we hear when we do cases where there are buses involved is, oh, we can't turn over the video because other students are on the bus, so there's student privacy, which is nonsense. We also hear, oh, well, only one of the 4 cameras was working, or we didn't pull it in time and they're set to overwrite themselves. I mean, there are all kinds of ways they try to hide evidence of wrongdoing, and it's not, it doesn't meet the expectation that most parents have.
You know, in these kinds of cases with autistic children, oftentimes they're not able to express the emotions they feel about what happened to them. And I would suppose that that would be make it more difficult to prove some of the legal issues and also long-term damage, if you will, to the child. How do you go about that?
I work with experts who have specializations in autism and trauma. The other piece, you're exactly right, and the other piece of this is that it's why training of bus drivers, of paraeducators, of teachers is so important. The teachers need to understand the impact of autism on their students. For example, this bus driver picked up Jane Doe's backpack and took it from her and threw it down the steps. And Jane Doe was taught as a neurodivergent student that you don't get off the bus without your backpack on. And so that caused immediate stress to her. And she's going into a trauma response while this adult woman is screaming at her and jostling her and, accosting her. But to her mind, the most important thing is following the rule that she was taught to follow. So it causes an extraordinary impact and harm to a child.
So what was the resolution of the case?
We settled for $1.1 million, which was approved by a federal judge in Sacramento.
Okay, well, congratulations on that. We have with us today Jane Doe's father, so let's bring him on right now. It is my great privilege to introduce Ron to the show. Welcome to the show, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
As a dad myself, I would be shocked at what happened to your daughter. When did you first see the video?
We saw it that night, actually.
That night?
I received a call from the school district, and they were very cautious on how they picked up the phone when I answered, and that kind of gave me the first clue that something was wrong. They were having a hard time getting it out, and
What did they say? What did they say?
There's been an incident at our school, and we have notified the police, and when that came out, I started panicking. I went through my voicemail because they'd left a voicemail, and sometimes at the time I was working and I didn't really check it. But it came like a bomb.
When you got off the phone, what did you do?
When I got off the phone, it was like right around her bus time, and I believe that was the last time she was dropped off at the bus stop. And when I found out everything, we were still kind of in a panic, or at least I was in a panic. And then we received the phone call from the police department, and then the school district HR, and everything started rolling.
All that same day?
All of it, within hours. And then I had to notify my wife at work, and it's problematic getting a hold of her because she's usually with patients and really, really busy. So when I was able to get a hold of her, we were notified by the school that we were going to have a viewing that night. So we went to the school district, and there was everybody, the police, and that was when we had first seen the video. So my earlier alarm was just going off when we actually saw the video. It was a horrendous thing.
Oh, I'm just kind of curious, did they give you a copy of it?
No.
No. Did you ask for a copy?
I don't think I did.
What went through your mind, like, this is wrong.
Helpless.
What am I going to do about it?
Absolutely helpless. The first instinct as a man, anger. I just wanted to lash out at everything. The school district, the people involved. And then I had talked to the owner of my company at the time that I was working for, and I asked about legal advice. So his first words out of his mouth were, calm down, don't do anything dumb, let everything legally handle, let it all play out. And then he was the one who actually referred me to Micha. And I think it was that night that I had made the phone call.
Micha, you had already seen the tape at that time?
I don't think I saw the tape until after we had a chance to talk and meet.
You had mentioned earlier conversations that when you select a client, it depends how angry you get. What did you think when you saw the tape?
I was apoplectic. I was enraged. I had never seen anything so violent and unnecessary, and it was just like unbridled rage from this woman for absolutely no reason.
My first thought was, what is this person doing working with children? And that's the word that I thought of, rage. It seemed like she was taking out all of her anger at everything and everyone against this poor little girl.
That's right.
I think it was her accusations to me and my wife about the way that we handled her upbringing. Like, she was spoiled, she was entitled, there's nothing wrong with her.
The bus driver said that.
Absolutely.
What does she know about your daughter?
And that's the problem with an autistic child, is that, that there's procedures and we take great caution to make sure that we don't do a lot of unexpected stuff. She has a routine, she's got her backpack, this is where she sits. This is the normal bus driver, this is the route we take. And that day just seemed to be a substitute bus driver, and that was the second day, and we didn't realize that there was a problem the day before. She didn't want my daughter to sit too close up front. She wanted her to sit in a different place, and then that was the first flag that went up. And it just descended from there.
And I'll just add, a lot of times on special needs buses, the children do have assigned seats because of their special needs.
It makes them feel more comfortable.
Exactly. Routine provides calm and comfort.
When she took her away from the comfort zone, what had ended up happening is that she didn't say anything to us, she just internalized it. And so it came as a great shock when we found out that it had escalated to the point.
Because she did not volunteer any of it.
No, absolutely. Why would she?
I have heard time and time again people on the opposite side of the fence saying, there's nothing happened, she didn't complain. Right. Well, she didn't complain because she doesn't know how to complain. Right?
Right. And years of therapy with her, and we teach her, and we've taught her to trust and respect the elders. The people that are there to support you. Your teachers, your bus drivers, the police, everybody. Yeah. And it was that. And she had an aide with her at the time, and so all of her trust is in those people that are around her. So, and with her mind the way it is, it was just unfortunate because it really did shake her ability to trust.
I hear and see the love you have for your daughter and the involvement you have with your daughter. And I understand from Micha that she's extremely bright, isn't she?
She's extremely bright. She does things that just blow me away sometimes. We started a work project a couple days ago, and it's the way she thinks, it's the way her mind works. And I think maybe that's the misunderstanding that people have when it comes to children with high-functioning autistic kids, is that they seem normal, but something's not right. And for some people who see that, they just can't wrap their head around the fact that it is the way they are, and you have to treat these people a little different. Yeah. And it goes for a lot of my family members too. It's tough with family and friends and people who who know her, and then again, people are predisposed to think that everybody's just normal and they function normal, they interact normal, and everything is. But you know, she's had a lot of work.
Now, it's been 6 years since this incident, right?
Absolutely.
How's she doing today?
She's doing great. She's about to start high school. It's gone by so fast, you know, and so she's a charter school next year. So hopefully she wants to pursue design work and graphics and computer type stuff. So hopefully she can achieve that.
Very impressive. One last question. What do you think about the job that Micha did for your family?
It was fantastic. She was there for us. She answered all the questions, and she really helped us through a lot of it, navigate everything. We would have been lost. I don't know what we would have done.
Well, personally, what I like about her is not only is she a great lawyer, but she also empathizes.
It's the way she empathized with everything, every aspect of this case. Everything was well covered, and we had absolute 100% faith and trust.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, cases like this, Micha, parents have questions about what is, you know, child abuse? How do you detect it?
Lots of conversations, particularly with students who have special needs. You know, we don't know what's happening to our children during the normal day. We rely on the adults. And this case would not have come to light except for Jane Doe was significantly hurt and went to the nurse because of back pain, and red marks were found on her body, and that's how it was uncovered. You know, teaching children how to talk to you about traumatic events, how to assess whether a situation feels safe and what that means, and just continuing to have open and honest dialogue with the teachers and teachers' aides, paraeducators, counselors. You know, make yourself known at school and let the folks there know you're paying attention to how their children are being treated.
Let's talk about what a mandated reporter is, what it means, what schools are required to do, and who are they supposed to notify?
Being a mandated reporter means that if you suspect child abuse, whether it's physical or sexual, you have a legal obligation. If you're employed by a school district, and just about everyone who works for a school district is a mandated reporter, you have to notify the police or CPS.
What if a teacher feels, could they lose their job, for example, if they feel that administration doesn't want this reported, but yet they call the police anyway?
They could lose their job. It would be an unlawful termination. But you know, people do and make dumb decisions all day, every day, and we can't legislate around that. But the bottom line is, if you're going to work in a school, you have to be brave enough to report what you're legally obligated to report, which is any suspicion.
And that can be a child comes to school and a teacher suspects that maybe there's something going on at home.
Exactly.
When is the parent notified of what happened in a case like that, or something that happened in school?
It depends on what the suspicion is. If the suspicion is that the abuse is being caused by the parents, usually the police are called, and the police are the ones to disclose to the parents what the allegations are.
Now, I've seen before, you know, cars that are school police. Are these police officers trained to deal with this?
They should be. They're required to be.
Are they?
Not always. And unfortunately, what ends up happening is when you have school districts that have their own police force, they treat the students like criminals more often than not, rather than folks they're supposed to be protecting.
Yeah, you're well known in the community and around the state for handling these kinds of cases. So you probably get a lot of inquiries to your firm about potential cases that you represent. How do you finally decide which case to represent?
It's a combination of taking a look at the evidence, talking with the families, talking with the survivors themselves if they're able to report or communicate. And then for me, it's really a gut check. How much good do I think I can do in this situation? And also, how angry am I at the situation? That motivates me.
That videotape sold this, didn't it?
It did.
Okay, very good. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
There's people out there like you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.